I mean, they weren't assholes. They were nice men, but they were hardcore.
Sam Elliott's voice didn't just echo through generations. It branded itself into American culture. That deep, gravelly tone, paired with the mustache, the wide-brimmed hats, and that old-school cowboy walk, became an unmistakable symbol of toughness. You could hear one word and instantly know it was him. But behind all that calm, steel-eyed charm, there's a storm that's been brewing for decades. Few fans would ever imagine that Sam's been carrying grudges older than some of Hollywood's biggest stars. For all the respect he's earned in over 60 years of work, there are a handful of actors, 6 to be exact, he's never forgiven. Some disrespected the craft, others crossed him in ways he never spoke about until now. And at 80 years old, Sam's done holding back. The polite cowboy act? Gone. He's naming names. And once you hear who's on his blacklist, you'll never see these stars the same again. Let's start with the one who pushed him so far. He walked off set and never came back. Kevin Costner, the so-called cowboy Sam couldn't stand. See, Sam Elliott didn't just play the cowboy, he lived it. Every scar, every squint, every slow drawl came from a real place. He grew up surrounded by dust, ranch hands, and silence that only the wide-open West could teach. His presence wasn't an act, it was experience carved into a man's soul. So when Kevin Costner rolled onto the screen in Wyatt Earp and later strutted through Yellowstone, Sam wasn't clapping, not even close. To him, Costner was Hollywood's airbrushed version of a rancher. Clean boots, spotless shirt, perfect lighting. Like he was there for a photo shoot, not a hard day's ride. Sam once told a friend, he plays a rancher like it's dress up, and even called Costner a man cosplaying a life he doesn't understand. While millions of viewers were obsessed with Yellowstone, the sweeping shots, the heavy drama, the so-called grit, Sam wasn't buying any of it. He rolled his eyes and said it looked more like a polished fantasy than the real West he knew. To Sam, Yellowstone wasn't a ranch, it was a movie set covered in makeup. Insiders even whispered that Sam got offered a cameo and flat out refused. He called the show a soap opera with a cowboy hat, and that rejection wasn't just him turning down a role. It was a statement, a sharp message about what he thought the show stood for. Shiny surfaces, empty souls, and a Hollywood version of toughness that didn't mean a thing to a man who'd actually lived it. For Elliott, Westerns were sacred. They were built on silence, grit, and strength that didn't need fancy speeches or perfect lighting. His heroes didn't talk big, they lived big. So when he saw Costner's polished delivery and big-budget glow, he didn't see a cowboy, he saw a costume. Even when the two men ended up in the same room, things got cold, real cold. One producer once said, they never yelled, but the chill between them could freeze a desert. That's how deep the tension ran. No shouting matches, just quiet, burning dislike. But believe it or not, that wasn't even the biggest feud, because next up on Sam's list was someone no one saw coming, Benedict Cumberbatch, the star Sam said was way too British for the West. Back in 2021, Sam shook the industry when he went off about the power of the dog. No filters, no sugarcoating, just raw, blunt truth, fired straight like a six-shooter on a quiet night. He didn't hold back, and Hollywood had no idea what to do with that kind of honesty. When Sam spoke, his words hit like a hammer. Fast, sharp, and impossible to ignore. It wasn't just about acting choices or pacing, it got personal. Sam locked in on Benedict Cumberbatch with laser focus, tearing into everything from his accent to his body language, even calling his performance a prissy take on a Western rancher. And he didn't say it through polite press statements or sugar-coated interviews. He meant every word that came out of his mouth. Then came the line that set the internet on fire. Sam asked, "What the hell does this Brit know about the American West?" He didn't whisper it or joke about it either. He said it straight. During that podcast, you could hear the frustration in his voice, the disbelief in every breath, like he couldn't wrap his head around what Hollywood had started calling a Western. The second that episode dropped, the internet exploded. Cumberbatch fans and film critics jumped in from every corner, flooding social media with hot takes and think pieces. Some defended Benedict's performance, calling it a modern twist on masculinity, while others slammed Sam for being stuck in the past. The online world turned into a digital brawl overnight. Posts, memes, and threads everywhere painted Sam as this dusty relic who couldn't evolve with the times. People accused him of gatekeeping the Western genre like it was his personal property. They said he was clutching onto an old idea of manhood, afraid to let new voices or styles take over the spotlight. But Sam, He didn't blink once. No apology, no PR cleanup, no nervous walkbacks, nothing. He stood there in his truth like a man who'd already decided that no amount of backlash was going to shake him. To Sam, The Power of the Dog wasn't just a movie that missed the mark. It disrespected the very soul of the West. He believed it twisted masculinity into something soft and overdone, turning real strength into an act. In his mind, Westerns weren't about posing. They were about quiet power, earned scars, and moral code. He wasn't attacking Benedict personally. He was defending a tradition he felt Hollywood had turned into theater. Insiders later whispered that Benedict was hurt by the whole thing. He never fired back publicly, but word around the studios was that the comments stung hard. Executives even held private talks, wondering if they should release some kind of statement to smooth things over. But in the end, Benedict chose silence. No clapback, no interviews, just calm retreat from the storm. Meanwhile, Sam stayed steady, calm and unmoved, like a gunslinger who'd already taken his shot and wasn't about to flinch. To him, the West wasn't some movie aesthetic or social media trend. It was real life. It was about dirt under your nails, discipline, and living by your word. You couldn't fake that, no matter how many Oscars you had. And if people thought he was too harsh or old-fashioned for saying it, he didn't care one bit. He wasn't losing sleep over anyone's opinion, not when he believed he was standing up for a history built on grit and truth. But just when fans thought Sam's fire couldn't burn any hotter, he dropped another name, and this one shocked everyone. Ashton Kutcher, the actor Sam said, embarrassed the craft itself, because for Sam, acting wasn't about fame or charm, it was sacred, a craft built through patience, discipline, and raw honesty, and anyone who treated it like a shortcut or a game, that was personal. To Sam Elliott, acting was never supposed to be a popularity contest or a quick ticket to fame. It was sacred ground. It wasn't about using Hollywood as a stepping stone for tech projects or flashy business moves. Every role, in Sam's mind, had to be earned, not handed out because someone had followers or buzz. So when Ashton Kutcher blew up on that '70s show, then jumped into light rom-coms and Silicon Valley ventures, Sam wasn't clapping. He was irritated. To him, it felt like watching someone skip the line in a world where respect was supposed to come one step at a time. Still, when the two of them got cast together on the Netflix series The Ranch, Sam kept his cool. He showed up, hit his marks, delivered every line with that trademark focus, and did his job like the professional he's always been. But behind the scenes, the air got thick, real quick. Crew members later said the tension was so heavy you could feel it before you even stepped on set. During breaks, Sam would quietly shake his head, muttering in that deep growl, "He's a decent guy, but no real actor." It wasn't about Ashton's personality. Sam didn't hate the man. What bothered him was everything Ashton represented. To Sam, Kutcher symbolized this shiny, new version of Hollywood, where algorithms mattered more than instinct, where follower counts beat out resumes, and charm got treated like a talent all on its own. That wasn't evolution to Sam. It was decline. He believed storytelling was being watered down by shortcuts, surface-level scripts, and branding tricks dressed up as art. Viewers thought Sam and Ashton had great chemistry on screen, but Sam knew that was just the job. Strictly professional, nothing deeper. Meanwhile, Ashton stayed gracious in interviews, calling Sam a legend and even praising him as a mentor. But when the cameras were off, Sam wasn't returning that energy. More than once, people overheard him mutter, "He acts like a guy who learned acting off YouTube." And he meant it. It wasn't bitterness, it was about standards. The same standards Sam had fought to protect his entire career. He felt the soul of Hollywood was slipping away, traded for views, numbers, and attention spans that barely lasted longer than a trailer. Acting, to Sam, was supposed to mean something. It was about truth, not trends. So while The Ranch looked cozy and brotherly on screen, behind the scenes, it was all surface. No brotherhood, no real bond, just tolerance and nothing more. And then came another name that rubbed Sam the wrong way, Nicolas Cage. Too loud, too wild, and way too unpredictable for Sam's taste. Sam believed that true power in acting didn't come from yelling or throwing yourself around. It came from the quiet burn, that one look that says everything without a word, a silence that carries more emotion than a screaming match ever could. Cage's explosive, eccentric energy, the wild eyes, the sudden bursts, the arms flying in every direction, didn't impress Sam one bit. To him, that wasn't mastery, it was madness. Sam didn't see a man transforming into a character. He saw a performer putting on a show, swallowing the whole scene until no one else could breathe. When Nicolas Cage stormed into the mainstream with his over-the-top style, Sam didn't see genius, he saw chaos. He once said privately that watching Cage act was like watching a one-man circus when everyone else came to do a story. That kind of noise, Sam wanted no part of it. Even when they worked together on Ghost Rider, Sam stayed distant. He was polite, sure, professional as always, but warm, not even close. The two men shared the screen, but not a connection. In later interviews, Sam never named names outright, but the hints were sharp enough to cut glass. He spoke about actors who grab the spotlight like they own it, turning every moment into their personal stage. He said some performers mistake noise for power, chasing attention instead of truth. Sam's close friends didn't need him to spell out the name. They already knew he was talking about Nicolas Cage. Sam once told a confidant, "He's more firework than flame. Big bang, no heat." And that single line said everything. While Cage built a massive fan base off his wild, unpredictable energy, Sam stayed true to the slow, grounded craft he'd spent his life protecting. Sam trusted the kind of acting that pulled you in, made you lean forward to catch every breath and glance, not the kind that made you jump back in confusion. To him, Cage represented everything wrong with modern filmmaking: a hunger for shock over story, flash over feeling, and spectacle over soul. Sure, Cage kept stacking praise, racking up awards, and collecting glowing reviews from critics who called him brilliantly unhinged. But Sam wasn't buying a second of it. In his eyes, no golden statue could patch up what he saw as empty theatrics dressed in chaos. He believed real acting came from the inside, from silence, stillness, and raw honesty. And he felt Cage had walked away from that truth long ago. But then came the name that really hurt, the one that didn't come with anger, but heartbreak. Jeff Bridges, the friend who drifted away. Sam and Jeff used to be seen as cut from the same rugged steel, grounded, humble, and powerful without needing to shout. They both carried that old-school quiet strength, the kind that could fill a room without a single word. When they teamed up on the cult classic The Big Lebowski, their chemistry lit up the screen, and off-camera, it was just as real. They spent hours talking about the craft, laughing over long nights, and building a friendship that seemed unshakable. They shared the same love for authenticity, for stories told with grit instead of gloss. Their bond was built on respect and a shared code. Let the work speak louder than the fame. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Not fast, not loud, but slow, like a rope wearing thin, strand by strand. After Jeff won his Oscar for Crazy Heart, Sam started to notice little shifts. The humble man he'd known began showing up in glossy magazine spreads, dressed in designer suits, posing with perfectly staged political statements, and giving interviews that felt more rehearsed than real. It wasn't that Jeff had gone bad. Sam just saw him drifting into the Hollywood current, pulled by all the glitter and noise. A source close to Sam once said, "Jeff became harder to reach, harder to read, and more wrapped up in the machine than ever before." To Sam, it was like watching the raw truth that once defined Jeff get polished down until it gleamed too bright to feel human anymore. That easy, unspoken connection they'd always shared, the quiet code of real actors who didn't chase headlines, started fading under the weight of red carpets and press tours. What once felt like brotherhood now felt like distance wrapped in polite smiles. In one rare interview, when Sam was asked about the people he'd worked with, he didn't drop Jeff's name, but he didn't have to. He just said, with that low, steady voice, "Some folks change." 3 small words, but they hit harder than a shout. Then he added, "Others just show who they always were." And everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. Hollywood insiders didn't need to guess. It was a clean shot at Jeff Bridges. And even though Jeff stayed calm, never clapped back or threw shade, that silence said more than any public feud ever could. The two men stopped showing up at the same film festivals, stopped giving joint interviews, and stopped being those two seasoned legends who once carried themselves like brothers, both on screen and off. For Sam, the pain wasn't about ego or competition. It wasn't about trophies, fame, or politics. It was deeper. It came from the heart, not the headlines. He felt the slow, aching fade of a bond he thought would last forever. A friendship built on shared values, honesty, and love for the craft, not Hollywood gloss. When that connection cracked, it left an ache that didn't make noise. It just stayed. Only a few people close to him ever noticed, but insiders say Sam didn't feel betrayed. He felt left behind. like a man who'd been standing shoulder to shoulder with a friend, only to realize that friend had drifted into a whole different world of fame and polish. That kind of quiet distance cuts deeper than any argument, and Sam carried that hurt the same way he carried everything else, silently, with pride and pain tangled together. But even that heartbreak couldn't prepare him for the last name on his list, the one he never thought he'd have to call out, Jared Leto, the method-gone-mad actor who finally pushed Sam's patience past its limit. Sam Elliott's biggest irritation was never confidence or talent, it was pretension. That loud look-at-me attitude that turned acting from an art into a circus. He respected dedication, but he despised anything that felt like showing off. So when Jared Leto started making headlines for his extreme method acting, sending rats to co-stars, locking into characters for weeks, and turning film sets into emotional obstacle courses, Sam didn't see depth. He saw a gimmick. He wasn't impressed by the headlines or the awards that came with them. He was annoyed. To Sam, that kind of commitment wasn't artistry. It was attention-seeking dressed up as passion. He once called that approach theatrics masquerading as talent, and he didn't whisper it behind closed doors either. He said it loud enough that it echoed through Hollywood. He even told a close friend, if he needs that much effort to act, maybe he's in the wrong profession. And he meant every word. To Elliott, great acting didn't need stunts or viral headlines. It needed precision, humility, and the ability to disappear into a role without bragging about how hard you disappeared. It wasn't supposed to feel like a carnival. It was supposed to feel real. True, raw, and human. Sam and Leto never ended up sharing a set, but insiders claim there was almost a moment when they would have. Sam was reportedly attached to a film in early development, one that Leto's team was eyeing too. But once Sam heard who was being considered for the lead, he quietly backed out. No drama, no press statement, just a clean walkaway. Sam Elliott liked the script. He liked the director. Everything about that project felt right until he heard one name, Jared Leto. The moment that name hit his ears, Sam quietly stepped back. No announcement, no press drama, no angry emails, just silence and a firm goodbye. That single move said more than any statement ever could. It showed exactly where Sam drew the line. To him, acting was never meant to be a circus of noise and headlines. It was supposed to be something real, grounded, sincere, and filled with emotion that came from the heart, not from behind-the-scenes stunts or viral stories. And hearing that final name on his list, Leto, was a reminder of just how far Hollywood had drifted from the values he'd spent his entire life guarding. Now, at 80 years old, Sam Elliott isn't chasing roles or trying to stay in the spotlight. He's fighting for something much bigger. Truth. He's defending the soul of a craft that's been swallowed by trends, social media buzz, and actors chasing attention instead of honesty. To Sam, the real power of storytelling still lives in the quiet moments. The pause before the line, the look that says everything without saying a word. That's what he believes the greats were built on. Restraint, discipline, and emotional honesty. He's not against change. He's against losing the heart of what makes acting powerful. In a time where everything's louder, faster, and more desperate for clicks, Sam still stands for silence that speaks volumes. He's the kind of man who would rather walk away from a role than betray what he believes acting should be. And that's exactly what makes him different. Even now, people in Hollywood call him the last real cowboy, and they're not wrong. Sam doesn't need to prove anything anymore. His career, his presence, his voice, it all speaks for itself. While others chase fame, he's guarding something rare, authenticity. He once told a friend, "You can't fake truth. You either live it or you don't." And that one line explains everything about Sam Elliott. He's not bitter, he's just honest. He doesn't hate the new generation. He just wishes they'd remember that acting isn't about how loud you can shout or how viral you can get. It's about connecting to people in a way that feels human. And whether you agree with him or not, one thing's certain. Sam Elliott stands unshaken. In a world full of noise and flash, he's still walking that slow, steady path, just like the cowboys he played all those years ago. The same calm stride, the same unbreakable code, and the same gravelly voice that could silence a room with just one word. Because when everyone else is trying to make headlines, Sam is still chasing truth. And that, right there, is what makes him unforgettable. But now, we want to hear from you. Which of these Hollywood feuds shocked you the most? Was Sam being too harsh, or was he just saying what everyone else is too afraid to admit? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And hey, if this story pulled you in, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment sharing your take, and subscribe to the channel for more stories about the legends who shaped Hollywood. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.